Well, hello there and welcome back. I thought I would do a bonus 3-book review because I did mention that I'd read 2 extra books after I did my roundup of January, and I've also read another book that I wasn't supposed to read since then, so gonna start with the ebook that I read, and that's The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinger, and been a lot of buzz about it. It won the Costa Book Award and everything, so I thought I'd read it, because why not? Sometimes you just got to. I mean, I checked the sample out first because I am an avid sample checker. If I don't like the sample, I won't read the book, simple as. But I like the sample, so I bought the book. Now, as you may know, because presumably I expect a load of booktubers have talked about it, the lie tree, basically you tell it a lie and then you propagate that lie. You sort of seed the lie and watch it grow. And as the lie grows, the tree grows a fruit. And when you ingest the fruit, it will tell you a truth. So Faith decides to try and use this to find out the truth of her father's death because she suspects there was more to it. It is about the power of lies and truth, but I think it's more about women. I think it's a really excellently written book, excellently explored issues, really well framed for a young reader to comprehend and take in and empathise with. I was very pleased that I decided to read that. She's a fantastic writer as well, just fantastic. On to the physical books. The first book has been in my to-read pile for about a million years. Just sitting there. I wanted to read it because, you know, it was everywhere for a while. And I was just curious, and I finally read it at the end of January. It is actually really, really brilliant. It's a wonderful exploration of the reality of dementia and a wonderful little mystery. There's sort of a lot of the history about the war and wartime and how it was for people living then, and about how it was to be young then and trying to make a life, and about the difficulty really of getting on, and how communities were, how they drew in together. And yeah, I think it's a really, really awesome book, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't already read it, because it was everywhere, so I'm expecting that everyone has pretty much read it, but I really enjoyed it. So there we go. Final book I read has also been everywhere, and is of course Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. I did not like this book. It was well written, it was a good story, but it did the entirely predictable thing that they always do, which is just kind of... This is why I enjoyed Pretty Is so much, because it took that whole predictable arc and completely flipped it on its head. I feel like even when women write it, it becomes predictable. Not to say that it doesn't happen and it shouldn't get written about, but it shouldn't be the default. You know what I mean? It should not be the default. It shouldn't be that you think this is essentially what is going to happen. Now, yes, we know for a fact in real life most of the time when girls are kidnapped, that is what's going to happen, but you shouldn't predicate the whole book on that. I felt like it would have been more interesting to explore his mental decline and their struggle, and perhaps her mental decline as well, without adding in that extra sort of sexual content to it. I don't feel it was necessary. I don't feel like it worked. I felt like it spoilt the book because it's not getting through to anyone. It's just looking like a trope now, and it should not look like a trope. When it looks like a trope, we know that it's become too normal for anyone to notice, you know, and that's what it has done. So we need to do something more interesting and more, you know, immediate with it, so people are drawn up by it and think, whoa, you know, instead of just thinking, yeah, that's bound to happen. You know, it's just my opinion, but there we go. I did enjoy reading parts of it though, the whole decline into madness thing and the survival thing I really enjoyed. So there it is, 3 books that I have just randomly read that weren't on my to-read lists but were on my sort of like to-read piles. Thanks for watching, bye bye.